Hey everybody, it's your happy elf on the shelf, Leo Laporte, with the year-end before you buy.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Before You Buy is brought to you by Cashfly at CACHEFLY.com.
Time for Before You Buy, the year-end episode. Now, what would you do at the end of a year on a show that had been reviewing projects all year? Oh, I know, you'd pick your best of. These are the best, the products you should buy. And believe me, we had some editorial debates over which is the best smartphone, the best tablet, the best computer, and the best audio accessory. Let's kick things off with the best tablet.
I finally have the opportunity to do a true review of my new iPad Air 2. You know, it's funny, Leo and I host iPad Today, and you would think, anyway, I've talked about my new iPad Air 2, which has got the gold back, by the way, but I haven't really given it a proper review besides, yeah, look, I've got the new one type of a thing. So what's nice about the iPad Air 2, and this is, by the way, fully loaded. So there's 128 gigabytes. This is the Wi-Fi and 3G model. I use AT&T as my provider. I have a grandfathered in unlimited plan, which I refuse to get rid of, out of my cold dead hands, rather. This also sports Touch ID as well because it's one of the new models. And man, it's lovely. You know, like I said, it's gold on the back, it's white on the front because that's just sort of the way I roll. And I, you know, when I first picked it up and held it, against the iPad Air, the original Air, I realized that it's lighter, but it doesn't really feel that much lighter to me. It does feel slightly thinner, slightly lighter, but nothing that I think that I would notice after holding for maybe an hour reading in bed, say, that type of a thing. But that is there. It's negligible to me anyway, but that is definitely there. Now, I do have the Wi-Fi Plus cellular plan, which makes any iPad just a lot more of a mobile product. If you've only got Wi-Fi, sure, there are a lot of places that you can connect to your iPad, but you know, you're not going to be able to whip it out on a plane if you're sitting on the tarmac for a while. I mean, those are the situations that I really think that the cell plan makes a huge difference. That said, though, you know, the iPad Air 2 starts at, what, $499. This model is $829, so that's significantly more expensive for the kind of iPad that I actually want. The base model actually wouldn't really work for me, at least the way that I use iPads now. Another thing about the Air 2 is that it's got It's faster processor, there's more memory, it's supposed to be able to render high-intensity graphics much quicker. I think Apple threw out a percentage like 68% faster than the iPad Air. I have noticed very little. However, I also have an old Air that has like 400 apps on it. This has... I'm starting over. I've decided to turn over a new leaf. So I have much fewer apps on this particular model. So it's humming right along, but I think that it would probably bog down the same way if I loaded up enough apps that, you know, let's face it, some are sort of sketchy and don't work that well on my new iPad as well. Touch ID is a freaking lifesaver. Now, I've got an iPhone, you know, I'm a Mac, Apple person. Everything is either Mac or iOS in my world. And really at this point, all I need is Touch ID on my Magic Trackpad, and then I'll be good to go. I mean, once you have Touch ID, it's really hard to go back, and that was always something that kind of bothered me. Once I had it on my phone, I really wanted it on my iPad because it felt inconsistent otherwise. Okay, I think you hear where I'm going here with this. I am an iPad fan. I love the Air 2. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Those are the pros. It's fast, it's light. It is the best iPad out there. Unless you want a mini, of course, which is smaller. The iPad Air 2 it's the best iPad you could buy. Absolutely. It's also the newest. You've got the App Store at your fingertips, which is always, you know, if this is your first iPad, that's a great thing as well because you've got access to all the apps that you might have wanted access to in the past. And on an iPad, many apps, even if they're universal for iPads and iPhones, are just a lot more fun on a larger screen. And then, of course, you've got that Touch ID, and you have the gold option as well. If you want to get fancy, you weren't able to get a gold iPad until now. So that's kind of cool, and I like my gold. I got to say, you know, gold is makes me feel very, very wealthy. The cons, I don't really notice a huge speed difference. And also, it is expensive for the top-of-the-line model, which I have. Like I said, $850. Not everybody has that laying around. That's an expensive, you know, gift for someone else or for yourself. So when I put all of that stuff together, I say, it's not a try because I guarantee you're going to love it. If you want an iPad, this is the one that you want. But I think that you really have to take into consideration what generation you're coming from. Do you not have an iPad? Is this your first one? Get the Air 2. Figure out if you want the baseline model, maybe you just want Wi-Fi. That's up to you. But this is it's a beautiful, beautiful device. If you are already in possession of an iPad Air, or maybe you've got a Mini and you kind of really like it and you think, oh, Retina Mini, that's all good. If you're trying to convince yourself that you need this, I say hold off. It's not a big enough difference for you to justify parting with that much money. So I said it's a buy. But, you know, there are some contingencies involved. So that's where I'm going to stand with the iPad Air 2. It's a buy, but make sure that you are the target audience.
Okay, one more in the 5 best things. The best audio accessory, whatever could it be? Let's find out.
Mike Elgin is here. He is the news director at TWiT, the host of TNT. Are you, Mike, a headphone junkie?
I am. I love them.
Me too.
I like good ones, and there aren't a lot of good ones out there. There are a lot of expensive ones, but a lot of them kind of suck.
That's a really good point. Yeah. It's become such a profit center for companies because you can make headphones inexpensively. Right. And with the proper marketing, people will buy them for hundreds of dollars.
That's right. Beats. Yeah.
So this is V-Moto. They've been around for a while. I've actually had a lot of different V-Moto earbuds, but I've never tried these look like the big boys.
These are. Now, this is the V-Moto Crossfade M100 unit here. These are for professional DJs.
Oh, look at that.
But don't be intimidated because if you're not a professional DJ, you may want these anyway. Now, these are both of a kind. That's why we're reviewing them both together. But if you see, the first immediate thing that you notice is this. They snap in. That enables them to go in this very small case, which is very convenient.
With a carabiner, so you can hook it to your
Exactly.
belt.
This is some macho Batman stuff right here.
Yeah, it looks like it, actually.
I really love the look of these.
Yeah.
Now, these have replaceable. These plates can be replaced, and I want to show you something. Now, this is the V-Moto XS for extra small. These are for consumers and so on. And these have the
teeny whiny little thing.
Yes.
Oh,
check
wait a
that
minute.
out.
How'd you get the TWiT logo on there?
They sent this to us as an example of what they can do. For $25, they'll send you 2 plates, laser engrave it, any color, different textures, all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
But how cool is that?
What a great bribe.
I guess we can't send them back now because they've now been customized.
No, we will, though. And I don't know what they're going to do with them. But
okay, so
wait a minute. This is not just a sticker, or it's kind of like it's painted
It's
on.
a laser engraved plate. And essentially, if you're going to get this for yourself, you would upload your graphic.
I love this, actually, because nobody's going to steal your headphones.
That's right. Isn't that great?
These feel nice. They're metal. And
I want to show you something. I was going to keep this later on, but see this thin metal here?
Yeah.
Try to bend that. Go ahead. Don't be shy.
It just bends like an iPhone 6.
Karsten will pay for it out of his own money if something happens to it.
No, it's pretty tough.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Now, this has a spring-loaded hinge here that enables this sort of feature. Super tough. This is like really a high-quality device right here. It's just the build quality on this is absolutely fantastic.
That's fairly important because headphones do take a beating.
You know, I think I buy one for my son every year.
Me too.
He just destroys them.
Me too.
Don't tell him, but this is going to be his next pair, and I'm going to see if he can destroy them. Now, I'm guessing he won't be able to.
I'm picking up on one thing.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be a wire on those.
There are wires, and I didn't add them immediately because I wanted to point out the fact that this particular pair, again, the M100, the Crossfade M100, comes with 2 different ones. Now, they both come with this orange cable. This is Kevlar cable with gold-plated items on the end. It has a microphone, like you can use it on your phone.
This is nice because it won't tangle as readily, right?
That's right,
yeah.
and it's very nice. Now, this is pretty much what you'd expect. Now, this is the professional DJ cable, 6 feet long.
Wow. And
it has an extra little sort of plug-in at the end, so 2 people can listen at once. They also have accessories on the website. You can order what they call the coil cables that some DJs like. V-Moto says that these are better for DJs, but it's a difference of opinion. But these are highly
Does it come with both?
This pair, the high-end pair comes with both.
Comes with the black. Oh, it comes with both.
This one comes only with the consumer ones that you use with your phone or whatever the device is. These are Kevlar reinforced cables. This is called their Speakeasy cable, which is really, really nice. Both of them, you know, just are very convenient. They roll up, and then they're little inside the case. There's little containers here where you can put the cables, which is very nice.
So we're focusing a lot on style, design, durability, but really
right.
you buy headphones because of how they sound.
That's right. Now V-Moda, if people who are, you know, headphone junkies know that V-Moda have always had pretty good sounding headphones. They tended to be super bass heavy. They tended to sacrifice a lot of the low end and mid range, especially at high volumes, for that big heavy bass. These, according to me, and also according to a lot of reviewers, are the first set, both of these, where they have really amazing low end bass with no downside in terms of the mid range, the low end, and even if you can turn it up to the point where it's completely destroying your hearing. And it's clear, there's no rattling, there's no buzzing, there's no problems at all. It's super amazing sound quality.
That's really good.
Fantastic sound quality. So so again, this is a really great set of
try them on because comfort is also
that's
an
right.
issue for me.
Now this is something where they're sort of in the middle. They're not the most comfortable, they're not uncomfortable. They're pretty, I would say that they're pretty good. And again, it depends on, you know, where your ears are, the size of your ears, shape of your
these
ears,
aren't
and so
bad,
on.
though.
Yeah, they're not bad. They're not
If I
bad.
had big ears, they might protrude into the cubs, but but they on my ears, which aren't small, it covers them completely.
Now, these are DJ headphones, so the other test is to put them around your neck and see how those are. Some have complained about them. I find them very comfortable around the neck. You know, they're kind of like, you know, some people have said that the metal sort of, and that didn't bother me at all.
Don't you do, when you're a DJ, don't you do one ear?
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Now, you'll notice, now if you look carefully at the bottom, now, both of these sets of headphones have something really cool that is very convenient, but it makes a lot of sense for the DJ model. They have options. You can plug it in on the left or right.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I really like that.
That's right. And especially for DJs, they're going to always have the cable going off in one direction or the other, and they want to be able to choose.
You want it to be near on the equipment side,
exactly.
and it depends where the equipment is.
That's right.
But there are definitely discrete left and right cups, but you can plug into either one.
That's correct. And then there's a sort of thing that plugs the one that you're not using.
So great.
Which is very, very nice.
Pretty good noise isolation.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Passive, which is good because they don't need batteries, right? There's a little bit of sound leakage. People who are nearby can hear what you're listening to. Doesn't bother me that much. I'd rather have passive isolation.
I actually wear for most of the time kind of open air headphones because they're often better for bass. Right. And then also you can hear if somebody's
screaming at you. Yeah.
Right.
Now, one of the cool things about this company is that both of these headphones have a 2-year warranty. You can test drive it up to 60 days. That means within 60 days, you can return it for a full refund, no questions asked. And they also have another great policy where if they get destroyed, if you run over it with your car or whatever, your next pair is 50% off. So this is really, those are very nice features, I think. So the pros essentially are amazing sound quality, incredibly solid construction. I like the looks of them. Some people won't like this look, but I personally like them. They're pretty comfortable. And another thing that they've done to improve this is you notice how this is kind of like the top of this is kind of egg-shaped. It's not roundish, it's egg-shaped. So these are close to the head. So when you put these on, they're not sticking way out like some headphones do. They pretty much stick to your head pretty closely, and that's a pro, I think. The cons are they're pretty expensive. Now, the V-Moda Crossfade M100s, the big ones, are $310. Okay, that is not cheap, but I think it's worth the money for people who really care about sound quality. And the XS version is $212 for a consumer set of headphones. That's pretty expensive as well. So they're, price is I think a con for a lot of people.
If you can't tell the difference between a $100 pair or a $50 pair of headphones and the $300 headphones, you're right. You should get the cheap ones.
Yep.
But good headphones, that is not a huge price for excellent headphones.
Exactly.
Especially nicely built ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
So buy, try. It sounds like you're going to say a buy.
Absolutely buy. In fact, I think I will buy. I mean, these are really, really great products. I really like these. And I have the feeling that Carson and Tanya are finally trying to get, because I'm pretty negative on a lot of products. I have
trying to give you something you like.
Yes, they tried to finally give me something that I absolutely would love, and I absolutely do love these. I really like these. These are great headphones.
What kind of music do you listen to?
I listen to everything across the board. I liked a lot of when I'm working, I like to listen to dubstep.
What?
It's great to listen to while you're working because it's kind of generic, but it's also kind of energizing.
Okay.
So I like a lot of electronica.
I was going to say Baroque, classical, but dubstep, huh?
No,
EDM, huh?
No, I like Latin music. I like world music, African music,
And these all
jazz.
sounded good.
Fantastic. I listened to. I sought out some really high quality digital audio, and classical music to the whole line. It's really great sound quality.
V-Moda. And what is the
Crossfade M100 is the big one for DJs, and the V-Moda XS for consumers.
a buy from Mike Elgin?
Absolutely.
You're watching our Before You Buy year-end special with the best of 2014. You got to have a best computer, and this wasn't exactly a great year for computers, but I think we did find the best computer. Let's take a look.
Thank you, Chad. Stick around because I need your eyes.
Of course.
Because we have sitting right here the new iMac that Apple announced a couple of weeks ago. This is the 5K iMac, and it's really kind of remarkable. 5K means this is 14.7 megapixels. The resolution on this is mind-boggling. It is not 4K, it's 5K, so it's which is actually double the standard iMac resolution, which is normally 1440, so this is 2880, and then it's what? It's 5120.
Over 5,000
over
pixels on the top.
across.
Yeah.
We're running a trailer for a 4K movie on here, which isn't even using all the dots. But one of the things you'll get from this immediately is this is a stunning display. And when you see images on this display, even just desktop wallpaper, you realize how immersive a 5K display can be. What Apple does...
It just looks juicy.
It's incredible. What Apple does with this is the same as what they do with their Retina displays. This is a really good example. Now, remember, you're watching this, even if you're watching our HD download at 720p, so you're just not seeing it. And that's why I wanted Chad's eyes. You got to go to an Apple store and look at it. It really is deep. And by the way, this is something Jason Snell gave us. This is the original iMac screen from 1984. That little postage stamp down there, this is how much more real estate we're getting than the original iMac screen. It is stunning. And Apple's done some real magic to make this screen work because, of course, with 14.7 million pixels, that's a lot. They've got fast GPU in it, but they also, because it's, in fact, really, there's only one kind of computer that could do this, a computer where the screen and the computer are in the same housing, so you don't have to use Thunderbolt or DVI or mini DisplayPort to drive it. You can actually literally drive it directly from the video card. Apple designed some chips, including they said something they called the T-Con, the time controller chip, to make it possible to do high refresh, high bit rate, high DPI images with a standard computer. Now, the base model, $2,500, only includes a i5 processor. I have not played with the base model. This is not the base model. Apple was sending out for review the i7 model. We bought the i7 model with the top-of-the-line graphics cards and so forth. We also bought the terabyte drive and 16 gigs of RAM. So this is maxed out. This is a $4,000 version of this. But I have to tell you, plenty fast. And those people who have been playing with the base unit also report no issues. I have a 4K monitor on my Mac Pro, and I get a lot of screen tearing because of the way 4K is done when you have to go through Thunderbolt. This doesn't have any of that. This is rock solid and steady. Now, Apple is doing the same thing, as I mentioned, they do with the Mac Retina, the MacBook Pro Retina. They scale it to 1/2. So nominally, this is the same as an iMac, but every single, they call it point on the screen, what would have been a pixel on the old iMac, is composed of 4 pixels. So text is crystal clear and beautiful. If there's an image, if you're using Lightroom or iPhoto or you're playing back videos, it'll use every dot. So the quality of images is stunning. Let me show you, if we turn off this best for display, this high DPI mode, and go to scaled, you'll see everything gets a lot smaller. You get a lot more real estate. Frankly, because the screen is so good, it's only 27 inches. Even the menus do work. The icons can be made bigger. But you see that it really made all the text a whole heck of a lot smaller. That's because we have doubled the resolution. You generally, with these Apple displays, like the MacBook Pro with Retina, you want to run what Apple says best for display. That's the high DPI mode, and you'll get the best of both worlds. Stunningly crisp text, but beautiful dot-for-dot images, even with 5K video, if you could find some 5K video. We tried hard to get a Red Epic camera next door and to show off this display, but they were all in use. The truth is, even with the high-speed SSD and the fast processor, it'd be hard to play back true 5K video on here, just because there's so much data in there. So anything like if you use YouTube's 4K video, it's so heavily compressed, you're not going to see really all the quality that you could see. This is a fairly compressed QuickTime movie. Timescapes was made when the MacBook Pro with Retina came out a couple of years ago to show off the MacBook's resolution. This is not the full display, the 2880, it's 2560, so it's close. And you see the scaler works really well. You don't see any artifacts from the scaling. You just see a really gorgeous image. So it is exactly in every other respect like the old iMac, 5mm on the edge. It's really kind of amazing. It's a little bit of an optical illusion because, of course, it has to get fatter as it goes to the middle here. That's where the guts of the computer are. We've been running this very rich movie over and over again all day. The computer is not hot. You cannot hear a fan. There is a fan in it, but you don't hear it blowing. It's dead quiet. This is a gorgeous computer, and Apple has really set a new bar. There will be a 5K monitor from Dell at the same price. So if you compare this to Dell's 5K monitor, you're getting the computer for free. And I can promise you the Dell 5K monitor won't work as well because it doesn't have that direct connect to the GPU that an all-in-one computer like this can have. This is really a stunning achievement from Apple. On the Pro side, you're not going to get a better screen. The color rendition, the accuracy, the resolution, the speed with which it draws, video games like BioShock Infinite on this. Of course, you're not going to run them at full resolution. You can't. But you run them at half resolution, you've never seen anything so gorgeous in your life. So a great display for photographers, for gamers, for animators, for filmmakers, anybody for whom visual is important. Price-wise, I think Apple, at $2,500 is pretty close with an i5 and 8 gigs of RAM to an iMac. But if you don't really need the great display, you can save a few $100s by getting the older iMac, the less high resolution. This is going to spoil you. If you go to the store and see this and you play with it for any length of time, it's going to spoil you. The cons, it is more expensive. I'll be honest with you, can't find another con. I love it. And by the way, the i7 that we put in this high end, the 4 gigahertz i7, that's the fastest single-core processing speed on the market today. Nothing is faster than 4 gigahertz.
Wow.
So if what you do, and most of what you do uses a single core, this is actually faster than the Mac Pro. It is a really lightning-fast computer. Of course it's a buy. There's no question in my mind. In fact, I bought it. Not for me, but for Lisa for $4,000, and I hope she enjoys it.
Just like any Apple product, I'm just stunned over.
Isn't it amazing? I mean, we've seen
also
these
just
iMacs for a long time.
Detail of fabrication and
yeah,
the glass
really
is beautiful, and it's amazing.
Couple of notes: you can get a Visa mount for this and mount it on an arm on the wall for about $50 extra. That's kind of nice to know. It is available in stores, so you can go see it if you want to. It's shipping now. Pretty amazing. 5K display from Apple, the new iMac. Definitely a buy.
Love that 5K iMac. Pretty sweet, huh? Very nice. And I should mention that in the month or two since the review of that, I've been using it pretty steady, and it holds up quite nicely. Really is a gorgeous computer. Now, I should point out, not everything we review on Before You Buy gets a buy. A lot of them get a don't buy. In fact, more than half. It wasn't easy picking the best, worst product of 2014, but I think we've done a pretty good job. Watch as we review the Pile Street Blaster.
This is Brian Burnett from Before You Buy, and this jet turbine thing in front of you is in fact a boombox. No, this isn't your granddad's boombox. This has got Bluetooth, NFC, adjustable treble, bass, echo, as well as mic and guitar levels. And don't forget the 3.5mm jack for that MP3 player you got. As for design, imagine, if you will, two 6-inch speakers crammed into a 3-foot-long canister and modeled off a jet engine that's blinking LEDs. Who doesn't love LEDs? Which also makes the name Street Blaster seem much more fitting. It's lighter than it would appear at 20 pounds, but it does come with a shoulder strap, which makes migrating to your nearest dance-off not much of a problem. Also, if you turn up the bass all the way, you can use it as a propulsion system. But to fully explore the range of the Street Blaster, I needed to enlist the help with all the colleagues I could find at the Brick House, which left Padre Silver playing me some smooth jams. That's all he knows.
Yeah, it is.
Gregory Burnett attempting to play something that would get this video pulled down, and indoors the sound was loud and clear, and better than your average 2.1 computer speakers. But this morphed death machine was meant to be blasted outdoors for everybody to enjoy or tolerate. For this review, I assembled my urban crew and hit the streets. The Street Blaster isn't trying to imitate a larger system. It's listed at having 1,000 watts, but I'm not really sure if that's true. It does have very loud sound. I also noticed that if you plug in the power supply, it's actually louder than when it's just on battery supply, which is listed to last about 4 hours, which is plenty of time for a dance-off or just hurting yourself trying. As for pros, the Street Blaster is very loud, and you do have a lot of adjustment options. The bass isn't so loud that you'll feel it in your chest, but it is decent for its size. It has lots of inputs if you want to do a mic or a guitar. And lastly, the NFC to connect with Bluetooth is really easy to use and simple. As for cons, it is louder when it's plugged into the wall instead of just on the battery. The price at $270 is a little steep for something this silly, and depending on who you ask, maybe the looks. Some people liked it, some people thought it was kind of ridiculous. Now, as for a buy, try, or don't buy, if you dreamed of recreating a certain 80s movie, then this Doomsday Machine just might do the trick. And while I had lots of fun using the Street Blaster, for me, unless the price was lower, this is a don't buy. So this has been Brian Burnett reviewing the Street Blaster boombox. Thanks for watching.
Actually, I think we picked that as the best worst product of 2014 because we just love the review. All right, now it's time for our last pick, and of course it's going to be for best smartphone. This was an amazing year for smartphones. Between the 2014 Moto X, the OnePlus One, the iPhone 6, the iPhone 6 Plus, the Nexus 6, the HTC One, the Galaxy Note 4, the Galaxy S5. It's hard to pick the best phone. We actually debated it quite a bit, but based on price, based on quality, based on battery life, well, it seemed like there was a clear winner. Now, without further ado, the best phone of 2014. This first product is one that is so hot right now that Expansys, which I buy a lot of my unlocked phones from, is scalping it for $200 above list price.
That's crazy. Although
you can't get it. You got to get an invite.
A, you can't get it, and B, the device is actually really good.
This is
so if it was to come out at that cost, people probably would have spent that money on it.
They're charging $500. It's $300 for the 16 gigabyte version.
Right.
We're talking about the OnePlus One.
We previewed it last week, so yes, it is back, but I spent a whole week with it, so I knew things to talk about.
You're right. For a high-end smartphone, $500 is even affordable.
Yeah, it really is.
Which
I mean, we're
shows you
used to seeing like $650 for an unlocked high-end smartphone.
So tell us about this OnePlus One. It looks like it's big.
Yeah, it's definitely big. It's a 5.5-inch display, 1080p display, super sharp. I was actually super happy with the quality of the display and just using it over time. It has really nice kind of brightness and sunlight, all that kind of stuff. It's a non-removable 3,100 milliamp hour battery.
Oh, that's pretty big.
Back here somewhere that you can't get to, of course. But 3,100's ample, and I gotta say, man, the battery performance on here was great. Minus a few issues, which I'll talk about in a few minutes, but it has a 13 megapixel rear-facing camera that takes some pretty great pictures. Although, you know, the standard kind of, there we go. Hey, Brian, you found it.
A brick wall.
So yeah, so
that's
brick
out
wall.
back. That's our alley out back.
That's out back. But if you zoom in, it's got great detail. Though probably on here, you know, again,
look at that.
nice
That
detail
really
in the
looks
water.
good. Yeah.
Looks really sharp in bright sunlight. What else do we have here? So this was really low light, and actually I really liked the effect that it made. It was early in the morning before the sun was just kind of starting to kind of, you know, brighten up the sky and everything, yet really sharp kind of detail on my youngest daughter. This was last night. Okay, this is rear-facing camera with super low light at nighttime.
Are you using the flash? No.
No, this is no flash. I think the next one has the flash.
It has those dual LED
And I'm frowning
flashes.
in both for some reason.
Now everybody wants these because it balances the white balance. And the white balance does look good.
Yeah, it looks all right. I'm not a huge fan of
That's very
flash.
grainy.
This
What's
is
that?
front-facing camera. Front-facing camera, no alterations. Still, it brightened it up. I had hardly any light on in that room. This is without HDR.
Boy, that looks
and
good.
then the next one is with. So you see a little bit of that extra. Although I gotta say, I took a lot of pictures with HDR, and it almost does too much of the effect.
It's extreme. It's more than a lot of cameras.
Yeah, you really, the more you use it, the more you recognize how much processing is there. This is just your token awe photo.
That's the best looking family ever. Look at them.
I agree. I totally agree. And then I think this was a video. Yeah, so this is kind of video quality.
A little bit of the rubber CMOS rolling shutter.
Yeah, when you're kind of kind of moving
I gotta
around.
say,
but quality's pretty sharp.
Well, this is good enough to be your family camera, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I was really happy with the performance of the camera.
How's the sound? Sounds pretty good too.
Yep, sounds great. Good stereo separation too when you're listening to it in headphones. She was trying to eat the peanut with the shell. I was trying to tell her, no, you can't do that. I can, but you can't. So yeah, so I was pretty happy with the camera. Let's see here, what else? It is unlocked. And
we were wondering about that. So you found out it comes. The biggest thing is it's cyanogen mod as the firmware. Without unlocking it, just the way it is.
That's right. Cyanogen mod 11S, which is a special version of cyanogen mod, which means you get a lot of customization. If I go into the settings here and kind of show you, there's this whole personalization section down here. You know, cyanogen mod's home screen is trebuchet or trebuchet, however you want to say that. So that allows you to do a lot of different things like hide the icon labels.
I like that.
Or show them however you want, the search bar, all that kind of stuff. You can go in there and do that.
You know what I like though? Despite the fact that they've got a lot of additional customizations, it still looks like a plain Google Android phone.
And that's, I think, one of the big positives of this, right? This is kind of the best of both worlds. So often we're used to seeing a modified version of Android that looks nothing like Android. This really does operate and perform like stock Android. It's like Android Plus. It's Android with some bells and whistles that are actually very useful. Similar in some ways to the Moto X, right? One thing I think I showed briefly last week is that it has certain screen off things. So like I did a V.
Oh wow,
and that
turn
turns
on the
flashlight, which is great. It's also, you got to be careful with it. Many times I would pull the phone out of my pocket and the flashlight was on.
Oh, that's not good.
Or like last night when I was writing up this review, no joke, this happened at like 12 o'clock at night, getting ready to go to bed, and suddenly this band, Tree People, loud guitar rock band, starts playing in my pocket as loud as the phone is, and everybody's asleep, and I'm scrambling to turn it off because it just fired off in my pocket. So, you can turn that off, thankfully, but when that happened and I didn't catch it, it hurt the battery.
Can you turn off the gestures entirely? Is that what's going on? The gestures are waking it up.
Exactly.
Because it's a double tap to wake up.
That, and you can actually turn them all off independently. So you can select which ones you want, which ones you don't. So personally, I would probably turn them all off except the double tap to turn on.
But see, it's
at
interesting.
least that times out, you know what I mean?
My HTC One also has the double tap to turn on, and I always find it's on in my pocket when I don't expect it. So that's a good thing. I might turn that off.
So yeah, you gotta
it's handy.
be careful. It is very handy, but you just got to be careful with it. For some reason, it was just firing off all the time.
Yeah.
Performance-wise, this is running the latest, the Snapdragon 801 processor, 2.5 gigahertz quad-core CPU. It's the same as the S5, Galaxy S5, and everything's super snappy and fluid. I mean, there's just no question that this is high performance. 3 gigs of RAM, so you're not running out of any RAM underneath the hood. You're going to get everything that you throw at this thing.
That seems pretty good. Are there any negatives?
Well, let's see here. So design-wise, one thing I find a little strange, so you've got the on-screen buttons down here, right? If I go to the buttons mode, and then I turn that on, you'll see down here, you can hardly see it, but down there are capacitive buttons. And when they light up, I mean, even in real life, you can hardly see them. You can't even see them.
I can't see them at all.
No, I know. And
that's full light?
This is full light. This is as bright as they ever get. And the order is different. So it's really kind of backwards. It's like you have the option, which is nice, of capacitive versus on-screen, but they're backwards, and if you do use the capacitive, you can hardly ever see them anyways.
Backwards,
so,
you mean that the leftmost one is recent apps?
Yeah.
The center one is home, and the right one?
No, the leftmost one is menu, even.
Okay.
The rightmost one is back, and the center one is home.
That's Samsung style, and it drives me nuts.
Very, very weird.
Yeah, but you don't have to use that, so that's the good news.
You don't have to use that, of course. You can turn that off, which is what I did, and I don't mind sacrificing a little screen real estate.
Yeah, that's how that's the Android way.
Yeah, I mean, to be quite honest, the cons, there are very few. The invite process, I would say, is probably one of the biggest, right?
Yeah, we still can't figure that out. It's obviously good marketing, but it's really severely limiting the ability to buy this.
I wonder at what point, if any point, they lift this and just say, all right, it's available to everyone, because it's already been a couple of months, and there is no indication on their site, if you go to their site, as far as like, if I want to buy, what is my option? Your option really is to play a contest or know someone that has one. And that's really it.
That's it.
So, it's very limiting. Everybody wants top quality hardware, low price, but you have to kind of like know somebody or get really lucky to get it. And that's just kind of, nobody likes that.
That's how we got it. We should thank.
Absolutely. Casey Mills is the gentleman who reached out to us and said, hey, I have one. It's unopened. If you would like it, it's yours. So we paid him for that. So thank you, Casey.
I'm sure you tried to get an invite. I've asked for an invite.
Yeah.
All of us have tried to get invites.
We're scouring.
Nobody could get one.
Now they're kind of releasing a little bit more. I feel like since we got this, I've had a few more people. In fact, I gave out one on Twitter because someone hit me up on Twitter and said, expires in 3 hours and I have no one for it. What can you do? And I just put the call out and whatever. So
at $300 for 16 gigs,
$350 for 64 gigs.
For 64
That's
gigs.
what you do. If you get this, get
spend
the
64
money.
gig.
Yeah.
$350. It's such a good deal.
Yeah.
If this were widely available, it seems to me this would be our standard recommendation.
I mean, it's right at the top, right? Of all the kind of top of the line devices right now running Android, this is probably in your top 3.
So
absolutely.
I'm guessing
no
a
question.
buy.
Definitely a buy. I'd say pros, bang for your buck. The performance, the CyanogenMod is really more like stock plus stock on steroids of Android. And then the cons, like I said, they were kind of hard to come by, or come up with. But the invite process is just kind of lame. The gesture shortcuts, you just got to be kind of careful with those. And the size, it's large. It's not for everybody. Not everybody's going to feel comfortable with a 5.5-inch phone.
Well, that's it for our year-end edition of Before You Buy. The 4 best things and the 1 best worst thing of the year. I hope you enjoyed it. And I look forward to a great year in 2015 with all our hosts, all our reviewers, and I suspect some very exciting new products, including an Apple Watch, maybe a new Apple TV, and I bet you anything, some great new smartphones from all the big manufacturers. Thanks for joining us in 2014. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season and all the best for 2015. Happy New Year. Don't forget to stop by our New Year's Eve party, 3 a.m. New Year's Eve to 3 a.m. New Year's Day, 24 hours of 2015 right here at live.twit.tv. It's going to be a lot of fun. Who knows when I'll crack? Sometime. Meanwhile, we'll see you next year on Before You Buy. I'm Leo Laporte. Thanks for joining me. And remember, you got to watch before you buy. See you next week.